Hi, welcome to the Market Alert for Wednesday, the 13th of November 2024. So small cap Sladers, yields, crypto and the dollar saw. Bitcoin record high, USD 2-year highs for fourth month high, gold 2-month lows, and US stocks mildly pulled back from record levels while the dollar continued to surge ahead of US CPI. It's gone mad. It's gone completely mad. Gold 2,600 at the moment, probably going to get hammered a bit more. Meltdown and SPY inflow frenzy, so a lot of money going into the S&P. Like I say before, when we looked at the Dow daily up to the election, there was that pattern, wasn't there, of bringing the market up with the derivatives and then selling off. So a lot of obviously rich people got out of the markets and now they're happy and they're getting back in. Lots of moving parts, certainly are. Anyway, today we've got CPI numbers. This will be interesting. I think the Trump administration are discovering there's been a lot of fudging of figures, so it depends whether they're going to be honest or not, and I very much doubt that they will. But we'll see when those numbers are released. The forecast is more or less, as we looked at yesterday, 2.6, 2.4, and then they'll probably revise them anyway. So expect another bumper day on the US markets. Not the same for Europe, unfortunately. They're starting to suffer quite considerably, but let's kick off with the Dow and have a look at what happened during yesterday and the day before. As a complete and utter clown, I managed to cut out the analysis for the Dow yesterday in the edit, so apologies for that. So this morning I'll make sure that we cover this in depth, and we'll do that right now. So in the Dow for yesterday, you can see that the honeymoon has slightly cooled off a bit there, as prices show some red, as you can see there, and some selling and a bit more weakness overnight. Is the market going to come back to where we started? Is this all just pumped up on the basis that the landslide by Trump, and that seems to go down well with the markets? Or was it a way of actually pumping the markets up so they could dump, knowing full well that actually it could continue? So we don't know, but it's certainly what we do know is that yesterday there was some selling around, and with all of these things, the same as when Kamala was selected, she saw a honeymoon period for a couple of weeks and then it all went pear-shaped when the reality was different to obviously the announcement. And this could be very much the same thing here as well. So yesterday in the 30-minute chart, you can see it there that prices got dumped from the off. I did speak about this yesterday, like I say, but I managed to cut it out. So yeah, we're already below yesterday's low. And Europe's suffering as well. And let's just have a look at the DAX. So Germany yesterday also suffering there, and also taking out the 89% retracement, but managing to come back. But overnight, so the market retesting this area as well, as we see prices also heading for yesterday's low. Yesterday afternoon with the Dow moving south and also weakness already prevailing with the FT 100 and the German DAX, the market had no trouble in moving lower, and you can see that we moved to 100, 200, nearly 300 points when the Dow opened yesterday afternoon. So yeah, looking at this, we're going to retest the low here. As I've said, there's no favoritism as far as Trump's going to get from Europe. They despise the man, and this is also a reflection within these numbers. Plus the economy is falling apart, which they're not being honest about, but the data is there if you want to go and look for it. And also the news headlines of all of this sort of stuff with zero hedge, so the DAX moving down there. Let's have a look at the S&P and the FT 100. So the S&P, no selling in the S&P for yesterday. Market very, very buoyant, but down overnight. 30-minute chart obviously heading towards yesterday's low. Will it hold at these levels, or are we going to see it continue? Yesterday they had a sell-off, but they had a very good rally back in the S&P, probably the strongest market at the moment, which is why it's mentioned in the headlines, trading back up to 78% retracement before it found a bit more grief and then moving lower. And at the moment, this market will be retracing around the same amount, bang on 78% retracement there. If it doesn't hold at this level, then expect the low and the 89% to be tested. Meanwhile, in the UK, the FT 100 continuing to move lower below the 200 MA, and again, no surprise there really, and that's because I'm just going to go back to the news here. If we have a look at this money blog, big banks announce interest rate hikes one after another, and they're not small. A string of lenders have announced interest rate hikes, one after the other, as the mortgage market takes unexpected turn for worse. And if we just go down into this and have a look, you'll see what we've been talking about in the alert, as it follows a budget that analysis fears could prove to be inflationary. Well, what a surprise. Absolutely. And this is going to be the same with Trump as well. Everything that's announced at the moment is inflationary as well. So, a string of banks have announced interest rate hikes, one after another, as the mortgage market takes a turn for the worse. That's probably the wrong thing to do, isn't it? But there you go. It's certainly going to be interesting. There's also, while we're here, let me just show you this as well, that Trump has selected Elon Musk to go in and sort government waste out there. That'll be a fun ride, won't it? That one I'm actually intrigued and fascinated with. We know there's a lot of government waste. We've got it here as well. And to send somebody in like Musk, who took over Twitter, removed all of the restrictions, so freedom of speech came back, is got the top job of going in and sorting out government waste. And I tell you what, he'll rip it to pieces. He'll have no trouble firing people, for sure, because he said to those that were still working from home during COVID, if you're not coming back to the office, then cheerio. So that one's going to be an interesting one. It's also frightening as well that you've got the richest man in the world who's going to be part of the US government, but and the influence that he could have, particularly with forcing electric cars, etc. But his job apparently is to go in and sort this out. I don't know where he'll find the time running a company and everything else as well, or two companies. But obviously something's going on here that only time will tell. So going back to the charts, the FT100 down in the 30-minute there as well. Let's have a look at the US dollar. And as it said, 2-year highs. It's when it got down to 99, it turned around and went north, and that's where it's stayed. The good news is that yesterday, even despite the dollar moving higher, the metals markets have managed to find a bit of support, particularly silver. So let's have a look at that. And there you can see we've got a bit of demand for silver yesterday, down at that $30 level, back above the 89 from the last retracement, which is good news, and up overnight. Whether this is a dead cat bounce and then we resume south and head down to the 200 MA wouldn't surprise me, to be perfectly honest with you. But it's interesting to see how much the dollar has put on, and silver hasn't actually been crushed as much as I thought it would. And there you can see yesterday, even the LBMA failed to move the market lower as prices were just pumped higher. Bit of a sideways move there during the evening, and overnight prices continue to move above yesterday's high. Whether they will hold is a different matter. Certainly when we see the release of the US CPI numbers at 1:30. Gold finding support at 2,600, I think, or just below it. Let's just have a look. Yeah, $10 below. I knew it had broken 2,600. So again, that will need to move higher. It has done, but it's not. So we've got a switch here. Gold is not above yesterday's high where it was. That was the way that the trade was being played before. Silver was lagging, but silver's now above. So that means only one thing as we look at the gold-silver ratio, that this is moving back down, which I'm surprised by. I thought they would have run this up to 90. But then, like I say, the inflation numbers out today gives them the opportunity in order to do that. Right, let's have a quick look at yesterday's market activity. And in the pre-market session, prices were down and then failed to go down to the low. Had a look at it, but then did touch it just before the market opened for the cash, and then we had the selling coming in with a couple of trades down, as you can see there, before prices turned around and then found support at the low, just like a magnet, wanted to stick with the low before they turned around and then moved back to the upside there, and then stuck in the sideways range for a while before prices moved higher. Made a complete cock up of this trade, by the way. Let me just come back instead of rushing through this. Moved the stop to break even, hoping that the market would take out the 19,277. It did, but after it took me out at break even, hitting the low once more. Should have kept the stop down here, and then the market moving up from there, as you can see, quite nicely. Finding resistance at the 200 MA before breaking through, and then moving up nicely above all of the averages, but the market then failed to hold. And then as we go through the morning, we see we're stuck in a range to sideways to lower. And then again, the low, you can see there, trying to get the prices back above this. And of course, in the afternoon, all hell broke loose. And unfortunately, we were already red before the market opened at 2:30. We would have had a sell signal. But the market then just continued to move all the way down to the S2 and beyond as the Dow fell out of bed. And we're probably going to see a bit more with regards to that weakness today if the inflation numbers come up higher than forecast. It's going to be interesting, isn't it? Because the last time they released, or they knew they're going to be released, is the last time that the Democrats were going to be, and they didn't necessarily know that Trump was going to win the election, of course, but it'll be interesting to see what figures they fudged, whether they're actually, I mean, it's known as the CP lie for the obvious reason, so it will be one to watch today, just in case they actually rig the numbers lower, which will play into Trump's favour of getting rates reduced, which will then bring the dollar down and some buoyancy back in the metals markets. So again, 130 is certainly one to watch today. Okay, that's it for this one. It's an interesting day ahead, and also is the honeymoon period coming to an end for Trump, and a reality check starting to kick in. But only time will tell. But have a great day anyway, and as ever, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.